Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this extra special episode of Unseen. It was unplanned really, but obviously Sting retired and there is so much talk about Sting. It just makes sense for it to have its own space. So we're going to have a look at last night with Revolution and Sting's last match. We're going to have a look at wrestlers and how they've reacted to that. And we're also going to have a look at some of the stuff that's been out there that's kind of caught my eye as well. So plenty to go through. Let's go through it. Here you can see Garcia on AEW Revolution coming out with an awesome Sting tribute jacket, which definitely caught the attention of social media. Also, Drainmaker here pointing out that at the very beginning of the show, it was Excalibur that said, "It's showtime. You know what that means." And that's his way of just paying a little bit of respect to not only Sting, but Brody Lee as well. These shows do tend to open with, "It's Wednesday, it's Revolution, you know what that means." That's obviously a catchphrase that Brody Lee had. I think he used it on social media, actually. And "It's showtime" is obviously related to Sting, so very, very cool. This image goes hard, doesn't it? Look at this. Look at this. Ricky Steamboat was special timekeeper for Sting's last match, and that is quite the shot. That looks absolutely awesome. Obviously, Ric Flair was there as well. We can go into that in a bit. So, Scott, awesome. Brilliant image. Brilliant. And look at this for an image as well. So, obviously, before Sting came out, there was a little video package, and it was him sat in a cinema watching clips from his past. And this is probably, for me, the best part of it. It's where we cut to his reaction as he's watching these clips, and there is just a big smile on his face. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love this. It was quite touching, quite emotional. I think at the end of it, he says, "Time for one more," something like that. "Are you ready? Let's go." And obviously then we throw back to the arena. So that was the video package. This is some footage, look, that Sean Ross Sapp. So Sean Ross Sapp has taken this. There's the clip from the cinema bit I was telling you about, right? So Sean Ross Sapp says, "Man, tears." This is absolutely incredible. So this is Sean Ross Sapp in the crowd. This is his perspective. This hasn't been hit with the copyright as well, which is kind of interesting. That gives me a bit of confidence that I'm okay to show this. Of course, this footage is all over the internet right now. But this was awesome, man. Look at that. I think people thought that was Sting for a second. That is actually his son wearing, and we found this out after, that is the actual outfit that he wore, Great American Bash. That is the same outfit. Well, I don't know about the jacket, certainly the bottoms, and I think the boots as well, he mentioned afterwards. So that was amazing. Big reaction. He looks so much like him as well. I know it's his son, but oh my God, does no one look at this and think, what could have been? Like, we could have had this dude wrestling for like the past, I don't know, 15 years, however long, like, you know, he could have been active. Like, he looks so good. He looks so good. He looks just like his dad. And it also totally made me miss Surfer Sting. The fact, this was one of my favorite moments. I know we're talking about it a lot, but Surfer Sting is my favorite version of Sting. That's the version I fell in love with as a kid. And so to see this moment here, to see this, was, I mean, it hit me right in the feels, man. Right in the feels. And then to find out that it's his son. Oh, mate. Amazing. Then, of course, he was joined by another one of his sons who came out in, like, Wolfpack NWO Sting attire, which looked awesome. Amazing. I think I would have liked someone to have been Crow Sting, just in the white. I feel like that was missing. Doesn't matter. I think he's only got 2 sons, but it doesn't matter. This was amazing. You can't really criticize this. Then, of course, the music changes. I think it changed to Seek and Destroy, which is a classic theme for Sting. And then, of course, the great man comes out and stands on the entrance stage with his kids. I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. And then they collectively all head down to the ring. And there is Darby Allin, of course. So Sting's final match, Darby Allin and Sting taking on the Young Bucks. And that got a bit of criticism. That definitely wasn't to everyone's taste. But I think this match did everything you could hope for it to do. I mean, we'll get into that. It was quite the match. Fightful saying his sons dressed up as Surfer Sting and Wolfpack Sting. Amazing. It really was. What a moment. Do you know, I think about retirements and I think about moments, and I think the one moment that stands out from Ric Flair's is obviously I'm sorry, I love you, and it felt very in the moment, and it's just it's such an incredible moment in Ric Flair's career, and I sort of feel like for me that might be the moment from Sting's retirement. For me, this might be the moment. There is one other though. There is one other. I think most people will talk about this, but for me, this isn't Sting. I mean, that's clearly Darby Allin, right? It's happened during Sting's last match. But I think because it's not Sting that went through that glass, for me, that won't be the image that I really think of. I'll think of that, definitely. Him and his sons, definitely. But there is something else I'll think about, and we'll get to it in a second. Look, taking nothing away from this. This was incredible, right? This spot was incredible. Now, I know there's a lot of criticism, right? I'm not interested. You can put yourself in Darby's situation. This is Sting's last match. He is someone that's been by your side for, 3 years? His Sting, right? And the whole world is watching this. Darby is someone that's a risk taker anyway. You can totally understand him thinking to himself, I need to go extra hard, extra big tonight, right? Take that however you will. But I can understand him, wanting to do something really dramatic for his friend. And this was one hell of a spot. It's one of the... Oh, my God. It's... one of the most horrific things. And apparently, I mean, look, Real Glass was trending. Jungle Boy Jack Perry was trending. Darby Allin was trending. Sting, of course, was trending anyway. But look at, he is absolutely ripped to shreds there. And that's not fake bloods. That's real bloods. And yeah, just crazy. Aftermath of Darby's back after he jumps into Real Glass. The only thing I would say is everything I've just said is true, but there maybe is a risk of Darby not stealing the spotlight, but people may be talking about this just as much as they're talking about Sting retiring. There might have been a bit of a danger of that, so I can understand two sides of the argument. I can understand people saying he didn't need to do that he took the focus away from Sting. Or I can understand the argument of it's his mate and he wanted to go big. It's one of those where I think it's a very difficult thing to know what the right thing is to do, to be honest. Because if I'm Darby, I want to do everything I can to make this just the most memorable, most incredible, the most unforgettable moment. But how do you do that without taking some of that spotlight, Tricky. Certainly didn't ruin any match for me or anything. Flair coming in, trying to protect Sting. This is after Sting went through some glass. I mean, clearly not in the same way Darby did, right? But we got to remember he's in his 60s. So even Sting himself got into the party, if you will, going through some glass. Ric Flair trying to protect Sting, and of course he would end up paying for that. He would end up getting walloped. So we had Flair involved. I think we all knew Flair would get involved somewhere. This is everywhere. I mean, this media has been disabled. It's funny because AEW did say that they wouldn't be pulling stuff down. But, I mean, they've just pulled everything down. So, Sportskeeda said, we're not sorry, we hate you. This was just that clip of the Young Bucks saying, we're not sorry, we hate you, which is a lovely counter to Ric Flair's retirement at WrestleMania 24 when Shawn Michaels said, I'm sorry, I love you. It's a lovely counter to that. So I thought that was a really good moment. The only thing I would say is that it's not the moment that I would necessarily remember from this because, well, it is, but it's not the iconic image. It's not better than Sting and his sons because obviously I feel like the Shawn one, I could be wrong, but it felt in the moment when he said it. It felt special. Whereas obviously the Young Bucks are doing this because it's a lovely play on what Shawn had already done. So for me, it's a great moment. I loved it, but it's not better than this. This might be the other image that I take away from this. So you had the "we're not sorry, we hate you" moment. Both the Bucks super kick Stings in his 60s. And he bends backwards, looks up to the heavens, and does not go down. He stays on his feet. He's kind of bent, arched over, and then he corrects himself and hits them both with double clotheslines. I sort of feel like in that moment, that would have been just a great moment for him to have put on the submission holds, the Scorpion Deathlock, and got the win there. That, to me, would have been maybe the perfect way for this to have ended. So, but this, I just love this. This bit where he, even at this stage in his career, is getting smashed by the Young Bucks after they've just said that "we're not sorry, we hate you" line. And he does not go down. So Crispy Wrestling said, Sting is kicking ass and created a meme in his final match. Legend. I love this moment. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. This was, I think, after they win. So obviously they do go on to win. Sting getting the submission victory. So nice little moment where Sting goes over. He does ask him as well, like, how many stitches do you think this is going to require? It's pretty crazy, man. What Darby put himself through is pretty crazy. But Darby did appear at the press event after, just to say, I wanted to let everyone know I'm still here, I'm still alive. So he's doing okay. Certainly better than Ric Flair. Look at this. I saw Sean Ross Sapp saying he thinks this might be the best picture he's ever taken. So credit to Sean Ross Sapp, who was there, and obviously he was there for the press side of things, and as a fan, I'm sure. And what an image that is. So that's after Flair had come to the aid of Sting, and obviously had been walloped, and that's him down. I don't even know how much selling is going on there, to be when it comes to Ric Flair, you don't quite know how much is selling and how much is just him being an old man. And, obviously we know about his health problems. I'd imagine there's a few people looking at this going, is he okay? Is this legit? Is he working? So Ric Flair, amazing. Obviously, people came out on the entranceway. I think this was after the broadcast had ended. And here we go. This is the full, it's like 7 minutes long. So this is the kids coming down after. So it is worth just saying, actually, that the show ends, right? The broadcast ends with Sting grabbing the microphone and he says, hang on a second, hang on. I'm just getting my time cues. And that's how the show ended, right? So that was it, though. Those were his final words. But obviously there was a speech after, the full thing going 7 minutes. I honestly don't know if we're going to be able to play this, but I do have bits written down as to what was actually said. He said that he'd been thanking Greensboro for like what felt like since 1988. He says that they'd been amazing. He said he just wanted this to be a night that people would never forget. He said that it's time now to give thanks for sure. And he thanks the greatest tag partner of all time, or his greatest tag partner of all time, in Darby Allin. And he goes over and says, I wonder how many stitches this is going to require. Darby is a risk taker, and I like to think I'm still a risk taker as well, and there was a good reaction from the crowds. As we said, his kids came down into the ring. And Darby goes over and sort of whispers something to Sting. And Sting then calls out Tony Khan. I think he wanted to do that, but it was just kind of funny how it looked like Darby had to remind him about calling out Tony Khan. So he said it wouldn't be possible without one man, and calls out Tony Khan. I think he said, now this is my last match. I can say, Tony Khan, hustle. Hustle, Tony. That must be something that gets said like backstage. So there was laughter from the crowd for that. Darby said a few words. He said that Sting deserves this moment and he hopes the people feel like they got their money worth or their money's worth. And he basically left. He said, I need to go to hospital. So he went to the back. Tony Khan just obviously put Sting over in a passionate way. It wasn't very long from Tony Khan, actually. And then Sting turned his attention to Tony Schiavone, and Tony came over and he said, Tony, how much will you pay me to do one more It's Sting? And he went, I'm only joking, and did it for the crowds. Crowd were chanting, thank you, Sting. Basically, there's Tony getting into the ring. Basically, he exits the ring, goes up the entrance ramp, and goes to that big collection of wrestlers at the very top. This clip is everywhere. I've been tagged so many times. This is probably the thing I've been tagged in the most. I am just a bit worried about playing it because I know that AEW have now uploaded it to their YouTube channel, right? So, of course, you know, the audio to this is probably copyright restricted, if you will. But yeah, it was fantastic. Such a shame we couldn't squeeze these final moments onto the actual broadcast. I think that was a frustration that a lot of people felt, that the final image of what they saw of Sting is him going, give me a second, I'm just getting my time cues, and then that's it, it came to an end, when you had all this kind of really cool stuff that happened after. So I'm sure if they release it on DVD, if that's still a thing, they'll put this on. I'm sure if it goes onto like some sort of library, this part will be included. So I think it's just one of those where if you watched it live, you missed out on this, but for people in the future, I'm sure that they will include this. I don't think they'll have it end with Sting saying, hang on a second, I'm just getting my time cues. So Chris, thank you. Yeah, we had Magnum TA, Nikita Koloff, Lex Luger. There was quite a few that were in the crowds, quite a few that were in like attendance for this. And actually, here's footage from Denise showing there's Magnum TA, there's Lex Luger, and Diamond Dallas Page arriving as well. So this is just before, I don't know if this is before the whole show or if this is just before the main event. I'm guessing probably just before the main event. But there's Diamond Dallas Page as well, who made his way over to get ready for that main event. So very, very cool. Okay, so let's go to this folder. This is just full. We won't spend long in here. This is just full. Look at all this. Oh, man. Look at all this. So Bully Ray says, Dear Sting, thank you. Reverence, Bully. So obviously they spent a lot of time together in TNA. Ric Flair said, getting ready to see one of the all-time greats walk away from something with a smile on his face, knowing that he has entertained the world his entire career. Thank you, Sting. LFG. I'm surprised he's not put wooings, hashtag wooings in there or something like that. But yeah, lovely message from one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Ric Flair. Missy Hyatt said, I'm wishing Sting luck for tomorrow. I remember how proud myself and Eddie Gilbert were of him when we watched Clash of Champions 1. It was like watching a kid you played Little League making it to the majors and playing at that level. He was such a franchise player for WCW. Jake the Snake said, for the last time, it's showtime. A lot of years, miles, memories. Congratulations, Sting, on a career like none other. Edward Brown tagged me in a video, which I didn't include because it was Jake being asked what his favourite moment with Sting was. He just basically said locking up with him for the first time. Like, that was his favourite moment. First of all, he said, I haven't got one. And then he's like, nah, I'm only joking. Lex Luger said, how time flies by. Tonight is going to be so special. I love you, my friend. So that from Lex Luger. Booker T, look at this from Booker T, sharing a clip of when he dressed up on WCW as Sting. So there's Booker T dressed up as Sting. So he just put that out. Very, very cool. Cody Rhodes. So there's Cody, just with the scorpion emoji and a couple of images from their time in AEW. CM Punk, very simple. Respect and grateful. A lot of people talking about the face paint that Sting had there, which was awesome. Sting showing love to CM Punk. CM Punk obviously donning the Sting face paint as well. So that was very, very cool. Lexis King tweeting this out. Look at this. So this is, I want to say, looks like, I don't know the year. I can't quite make it out, but Power Slam Wrestling. That is Sting, clearly when he was Surfer Sting, and Flying Brian Pillman. So a true inspiration for the 1990s. So we've got to be looking early 90s there. We've got to be. And Sean Ross just reacting to Lex Luger's post. Nick Aldis said, Sting, you're a wonderful man and a true icon. I hope tonight is everything you hope for. Congratulations on an incredible career, and thank you for having faith in me. Tear it up tonight. Tony Schiavone said, today is a celebration of one of the greatest performers ever in pro wrestling. From the first time I held a mic for Sting at the TBS studios in 1987, to the career-making match against Flair in 88, to watching him do crazy things in the ring here in AEW, I've been amazed. We're going to have to whoosh it. I've been amazed at his accomplishments, but it's the person behind the face paint that has made this so rewarding for us backstage. Today is my last chance to shout, it's Sting. I am so very honored to be along for most of the ride of this incredible career. Oof. Well said. Well said. Natty said, thank you, Sting. This is a great little throwback to Sting and my dad. So that's Sting with Jim the Anvil in WCW. Yeah, Brian Solomon, who is a fantastic writer. He's written quite a few wrestling books. He said, I'll be 50 this year. I have 2 adult children. I've been a professional writer for 27 years. When Sting wrestled his first match, I was in 6th grade. There is nothing to add to that. Matt Cardona said, tonight is Sting's last match. My only picture with Sting is the Sting that was at my 1st grade birthday party. What a legendary career. So there is Matt Cardona with a fake lookalike Sting that his parents must have got for him for his 1st grade birthday party. And he's even got one of those like brawling buddy Sting things, which I never had any WCW ones. I had the WWF ones. I never had that though. That is really cool. That is really, really cool. I am so going onto eBay straight after this to see how much one of them is. Probably super expensive. Tommy Dreamer said, thank you, Sting, as SiriusXM also put their own little message out. This was just before the main event. Kevin Owens putting this out of him doing the Sting call. That from Payback last year, I believe. And nice little moment there. TNA Wrestling said, many claim to be an icon, but there's only one icon. From all at TNA, congratulations, Sting. Never saw anything from WWE, which I think was a real shame. A real shame. Matt Hardy said, thank you, Sting. So just showing them together there in the handshake. Up here we've got, the Great Muta. Thank you, Sting, and goodbye. Sting putting this tweet out just before Revolution as well. The scorpion emoji and the skateboard emoji. Dustin Rhodes said, incredible. Thank you, Sting. AEW Revolution. Wow. Venom, thank you. Venom Unleashed. So Lex Luger said, what a night. Stinger went out in style. So there is Sting and Lex backstage. And Booker T said, thank you, Sting. What a ride. What a run. There was plenty from AEW talent as well. We could be here all day if we was to look at absolutely everything. I just got the ones that I felt are maybe the most important, if you will. So we've done that. Let's have a look at fun, shall we? I don't think there's loads in here. Oh, more than I thought, actually. Oh, look at this.
Dream Come True Fantasy Foundation. You ready to wrestle?
You bet! Mom! Dad! It's really him! Hold on!
Bit of Sprite first.
Now I'm ready.
It looks so real.
Don't count on Sprite to do anything but quench your thirst.
It looks so real as the kid's being checked around. Alan Cheapshot said, as Sting is retiring on Sunday, I thought it'd be worth sharing the time that Sting beat up a kid in a Sprite commercial. So, Dead Man Talking, shout out to you. Mr. Wrestling said, Sting and Robocop are still cool with each other. How great is that? How great is that? I didn't realize that StarCast as well, you could actually get a picture with, like, Great American Bash Sting. I did not realize that. Wow. I would love it if Sting, imagine if Sting now does the conventions, goes around and you can meet Sting. If he's going to dress up as, like, Surfer Sting, that would be incredible. So, yeah, very fun. Sting disguising himself as himself will never get old. Thank you for 40 years of entertainment. This was always brilliant. Look at that. Sting disguising himself as himself. And this is from AEW as well. Wrestling Spotlight said, hey, can we have some AEW footage of... Oh, yeah, that was the video package. Can we have some AEW footage of Cody for our revisionist documentary? That was WWE. AEW said, sure, yeah, of course. AEW, hey, can we have some WCW footage for our tribute to Sting? WWE, what's a WCW? What is this WCW that you speak of? Love that. WWE Creative Humor. So, Ian, thank you. Tonight, Sting retires at AEW Revolution. Tomorrow, we ask the Saudi royal family for a check to bring him back. Brilliant. Danny said, when I met Sting, I told him he was part of the reason that I started watching wrestling again in 2013. He said, I'm sorry. Triple H Thoughts said, we'll all remember where we were when Sting uttered his final words. I gotta wait. I'm getting cues. Hold on. Very emotional. This was brilliant as well. So this was Toni Storm. She says that she just wants to... Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can play this. It's only 12 seconds.
Best wishes and happy retirement to Sting. Seems like just yesterday we started on this journey together.
She goes on to say that he's free to use her summer house, which I loved. Right, I gotta wait. I'm getting cues. Hold on. Done. That was it. That was how it ended for Sting. Just funny. I don't even know what this is, to be honest. It just made me laugh. That's it. There is no subliminal message here. There's nothing that needs to be read into. There's no disrespect, clearly no disrespect, but I just made me laugh. I just loved it. I thought I've got to include it. So thank you, Sting. Right. So Tom, brilliant. Right, then we can go to the press event, and a lot of this has come from Sean Ross Sapp. Of course, he was one of the reporters there. So, you know, shout out to Sean, of course, not that he needs it. But Sting doesn't want to be a manager or an agent, but Tony Khan says they want Sting there in some capacity. Sting says he's willing to have a talk. So I personally would love him to come to WWE. I think there's so much we can do. Like, I want the merch. I want, you know, a moment with him and Undertaker. I think he could be a fantastic ambassador. Like, he can be there at WrestleMania. I mean, he can have some more WrestleMania moments, you know. So, but he's obviously going to feel a loyalty, a connection with Tony for everything Tony's done. So I can understand it that they'll have a talk now, but yeah, I don't know. I would love for him to come to WWE, but he'll probably either retire or just do little bits with AEW. Sting said he didn't feel like he had the full package of what he wanted to leave wrestling in TNA or WWE, although it was kind of there with TNA. He said it felt right in AEW. Sting said that he stopped taking steroids in 1990. We were two roided out young guys just shooting straight. That stopped me in 1990. It didn't for him. And that was Sting talking about when he teamed or used to team up with the Ultimate Warrior. They were a tag team going back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And yeah, very interesting to hear him talking. Imagine a podcast with him. I mean, I feel like everyone does a podcast now, so maybe that's not quite the right thing for him, but imagine where he sits down and just reveals lots of details about his history. That might be out there. I honestly don't know. But yeah, I just found this bit absolutely fascinating. Sting tells Samantha there was a resistance going out undefeated as champions or even getting a shot. Sting said Tony wanted him to wait until Wembley, but Revolution was full circle. He does leave AEW undefeated. I think 29-0 and 1-0 in Noah, which makes him like 30-0 since he came back. Which, I don't care. I don't begrudge him at all. I don't care. I do always say, like, for me, if you're going out, you should lose your last match. I really don't think that applies here. I think that only really applies if you're going out kind of, you know, in the prime of your career. I think we can all agree that this is not the prime of Sting's career. So, you know, did the Bucks really gain anything by beating Sting? I would say no. I don't think the Bucks get anything. So there's not really a benefit to it. I just think that if you are having your last match and you're still in your prime and you can put someone over that could benefit and, you know, it's the final thing you can do really is put someone over so that they benefit. They can gloat about beating this legend. That to me is like a nice tradition. But it doesn't really apply here because Sting is clearly not in his prime. I think Sting would agree that as well. I don't think the Bucks benefit massively by beating Sting, so I have no problems with this. Sportskeeda said Tony Khan confirms the vacation of the AEW tag titles. That's something else as well. Sting goes out as champion. He goes out on top. He was the tag team champion when he retired. And there will now be a tournament to determine the new champions. Sting says he told the Young Bucks that tonight was one of the top 3 matches of his career. Certainly was full of moments, wasn't it? Certainly was full of moments. Lovely emotional thing here. So Sting gets a farewell message from his family and the roster. This is the most wholesome thing that you will see. Everyone in the business adores and respects Steve Borden so much. It's amazing. I can't play all this. It's 5 minutes long. But it's literally just people like, hey, Stinger, it's Paul White here. Hey, it's Britt Baker. You know, got me into wrestling. You paved the way. No one has anything bad to say about you. We're so fortunate. It's amazing. You're so special. It's just 5 minutes of people gushing over Sting, which is, you know, deserved. And what an image. Maybe this is an image we'll remember. This happened after, though. That's the only thing I would say. It didn't happen on the broadcast. It happened after the broadcast, but what an image. Just before he leaves the ring, he embraces his sons, who are dressed up as previous versions of him. I mean, incredible. Absolutely incredible. So, a little bit in the merch as well. Look at this. So, crack one open for Sting, said Wrestling Magazine. Look at that. Look at that. I don't even know what it is. It feels a bit Mountain Dew-y. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But Surge. Oh, is that the name of it? I don't think we had that in the UK. I'm still thinking about the time WWE released this figure of Sting. Yeah. That was part of the Mutants line. So they took wrestlers and they turned them all into mutants. It wasn't only Sting. They did a line, right? And they probably did do lines when they came up with the idea. Favorite thing Sting ever did is this 2K15 trailer. Oh, God, this is amazing. So if you don't know, we'd never had Sting in WWE. And then seemingly out of nowhere, this trailer dropped for 2K15, just out of nowhere. We knew a trailer was coming, but all of a sudden everyone's like, what's this? And you've got like all the orchestra, all the band are playing. You've got I mean, it doesn't take too long to figure out who this is. I remember watching this go, no. Oh my God. 2 generations of Sting. Oh my God. It's still amazing. We got that before he came back at Survivor Series or made his debut. This is why people were speculating that we could see him in WWE because he had signed some sort of contract because he was in the game. To my knowledge, that's the first time we get anything Sting in WWE. What happens at Survivor Series happens after this moment, so... it was goated. WCW Worldwide Sting merch at Revolution. So there is a signed poster here for $150. The mask thing over here, I think, is... can't quite make it out, but it's like 40 or 50. It's expensive, man. Really, but, you know, they're going to try and make the money they can, aren't they? But look at all of this Sting stuff. You can even buy this cardboard cutout things. I'm guessing to just hold up in the crowd. But amazing. I love looking at merch stands. I just think it gives you such a great glimpse as to who's hot at that time and the kind of items you could purchase. I also like to look to go, oh man, if I had $100, what would I walk away with? Clearly not the signed thing. But, you know, maybe I'd get a shirt. Maybe I'd get a cap. Don't know, man. Some awesome stuff there. So we've done we've done wrestlers. We haven't done other. We've done fun. We've done the press. Done that. We haven't done facts. Let's have a look here, shall we? So Air said Sting will be the first and likely only wrestler to main event NWA, WCW, NJPW, TNA, WWE, Noah, and AEW. Jeez. The debut of Sting. So apparently this was the debut of Sting. One of the fastest rising stars, said Tony Schiavone. And JR called his first match. I can't actually skip through this footage, which is a bit annoying. But I think he just throws over to the match that's like pre-recorded. So this is Tony Schiavone introducing one of the fastest rising superstars. There we go, look. So there's the dude in the ring waiting for his opponent. And here is Sting. Amazing. Right, Gabriel said, I finally have got an excuse to bring up the fact that Sting and the Ultimate Warrior teamed up as the Freedom Fighters, Justice, and Flash. I see people mention them as Blade Runners, but never the team in this incarnation. So not only were they the Blade Runners, they were also known as the Freedom Fighters. Didn't know that. When Sting met Sting, I've always wondered if they'd met each other. And they did, all the way back in 93, when Sting met Sting. This is how long Sting's career has been. Look at this. Look at that video game there. I mean, that's not even 8-bit. That's like 1-bit, right? That's Sting in, I'm guessing, his first video game appearance. There he is in his last. Oh my God. Amazing. 90s WWE, just goated. You've got to follow that account. Chatman said, look, I give to you Sting versus Undertaker. So this is when, I think he was Mean Mark here, right? So this is before Undertaker. This is before he goes to WWE. So they did compete against each other, but it's not Sting Undertaker. But it's as close. I mean, it happened. The two guys faced each other. So there we go. That is Mean Mark. That is Sting. Competing against each other. For real. This isn't AI or anything. This happened. But he wasn't Undertaker at this point. And yes, his manager was Paul Heyman. Right, the fact that this is the only match that Sting won in his WWE run is crazy. So it was Cena and Sting that teamed up against Big Show and Seth Rollins. And there we go. That's the only match that he wins. He makes Seth tap out. And Triple H and Steph on the outside watching as Cena and Sting win. So a lot of people think that Sting's WrestleMania match was his only match other than the Seth one where he got injured. I think he actually had like 4 matches in WWE. So yeah, this one a little bit forgotten about, a bit lost. Right, I think we've done every Sting folder, so we've just got this final one. Wrestling World CC said, a quote from Sting, "I was an introvert, the last guy that you would want to get up there and entertain in front of hordes of people, but it blossomed into what it blossomed into. I've had a lot of fun." That was Sting on not originally wanting to be a pro wrestler from PWI. Sting praises Kenny Omega, says he's the one guy who he would love to have had a singles match with. And Undertaker, surely. Unless he's counting the fact he sort of had already wrestled him, you know, but... a lot of wrestling fans thought that for sure that Darby was going to turn on me, or that I was going to turn on him. But you know, I would have loved to have wrestled Kenny Omega. He really puts over, like, Kenny in this quote. Oh, man, look at this bit. Glass in my ass. Boom! Look at that glass, man, coming flying into the crowd. Sting taking out half the front row, man, in his last match. Glass in my ass, and I really don't care. Thank you, Sting. That from Monica. That glass proper explodes into the crowd, man. Chris, shout out to you. So, again, look, this was the little clip afterwards. Thank you, Greensboro. That was the last thing I saw Sting tweet out. We can just have a look in a second, see if there's anything out. We've got to end with Sting, haven't we? Right? I think there's one more here from Tony Khan. He says, last night at Revolution, Sting completed the greatest comeback in sports history. 3-year run in AEW, age 61 to 64, 30 matches, 30-0, 29 in AEW, 1 in Noah for Great Muta's send-off, retires as AEW World Tag Team Champion in the best last match ever. There we go. Tony's thoughts. The icon, Sting, wrestler, author, entertainer, actor. So, yeah, that's the last thing as of right now that Sting has tweeted out, apart from retweeting the bit that he did afterwards. That's the bit where Darby kind of says about Tony Khan, and then he mentions Tony. But there we go. Got to end with Sting, haven't we? What a career. What a man. There's really nothing to say other than thank you, Sting. What else can you say? One of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. And I saw a quote from Ric Flair where he said he thinks that Sting will be remembered as one of the top 10 professional wrestlers of all time. And he said that is quite the statement. Right, and it really is. It really is. You cannot do a WCW Mount Rushmore without putting Sting on it. Simple as that. That's how I will remember him, as an absolute guaranteed, maybe even the first face that I'm chiseling into a WCW Mount Rushmore. He is the one guy that I wanted in WWF throughout my whole time watching WWF. He was the one guy I always wanted to see come to WWF. Obviously WWE now. We got it. It didn't quite work out. It still provided some incredible moments though, right? Even though it was not what we were hoping for, it still provided, like that commercial, like his debut at Survivor Series. It still provided his entrance at WrestleMania. It still provided some incredible moments. But yeah, amazing. The icon. Wrestling has one icon, and his name is Sting.